P is also for pack is in the Barber Starter Pack. Link in the bio, 30% off till December 31st. Okay, y'all already know the vibes on that. Also, the P is for perseverance. So guess what we got going on Friday? 2 days. 2 days. Friday, December the 16th, all-day affair. We have Inception 2022, and I cannot wait, okay? Got a bunch of things going on, got a bunch of lives going on, got a bunch of content surrounding all of that good stuff. It is a ribbon cutting ceremony. It is a open house for the barber school, and it is also a memorial going on all day long. We'll get to all of that good stuff later. In the meantime, in between time, we're going to start the studying off. Title, it is Barber Theory Study. I like to do what I like to call the full court press. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Skibo, what's happening? Junkyard Dog, what's happening? Blue Bands, what's going on? James Smith, good morning, good morning, good morning. So yeah, I like to do the full court press. Full court press, I go through scientific concepts. Why do I do it that way? It is because in the state of South Carolina, which I am based, we have almost a 80%. Bro, what's happening, man? What's good? What's good? What's good? Duh, what's up, bro? What's up? But yeah, in South Carolina, we got almost an 80% failure rate. And within that 80%, the majority is scientific concepts. So let's get this thing started. Number one, chapter 4, infection control. We're going to go through a few things that we know. We're going to throw a little new information, and then we're going to go to the next chapter until we go through all the scientific concept chapters, okay? It's about 5 or 6 of them. All right. Let us start with, where is it? Okay, wait a minute. I'm tripping, y'all. Let me back up a little bit. Back up just a little bit. All right, we're going to start with terms. We're talking about cleaning. We're talking about disinfecting and sanitizing. What are the difference between the three? Cleaning is defined as a mechanical process. Sanitizing is a chemical process. Disinfecting is a chemical process. But sanitizing reduces, disinfecting destroys, with the exception of spores, okay? Disinfectants do not destroy bacterial spores. That is a test question. Very high percentage, 75% or above on your Barber Theory exam, okay? Federal agencies, you got OSHA, which stands for Occupational Safety Health Administration. They are responsible for the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. That's where the hazard communication standard came from. And because of that, they start implementing material safety data sheets, which are also known as safety data sheets, okay? Test question, I've seen it. Next, you got the Environmental Protection Agency, who registers all types of disinfectants sold and used in the United States. Again, what is a disinfectant? Chemical products that destroy most bacteria, excluding spores. Also destroys fungi and viruses on surfaces. What type of disinfectants are we concerned with in the shop? 2 types. You got hospital level disinfectants and you got tuberculocidal disinfectants, okay? Hospital disinfectants, effective for cleaning blood and body fluids from non-porous surfaces. Non-porous surfaces is anything that does not absorb liquid, okay? So just think your standard plastic table, something like that, that's a non-porous surface. It does not absorb the water and blood and all that good stuff. You know, your typical barber surface is non-porous, all right? Next, you got tuberculocidal disinfectants. They are often referred to as phenolics, which I've seen before. It's proven to kill the bacteria that causes tuberculosis, aka TB. And a fun fact, when you are applying to be a barber student, anything in the barbering and beauty industry, you got to take a TB test. And TB tests usually last for about a year. If a year go by and you got to reapply for something with state board dealing in our industry, you got to take another TB test. Yeah, you got to take another TB test. They do not be playing around with that thing, okay? All right, next, we got laws and rules. What is the difference? So laws are written by both federal and state legislatures to determine the scope of practice, all right? Scope of practice means what each license allows the holder to do, all right? And rules and regulations are more specific than laws. That is the big difference, okay? The regulatory agency or the state board writes the rules and determines how the law must be applied. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about infection control, okay? Infection control refers to the methods used to eliminate or reduce the transmission of infectious diseases, infectious organisms, all right? We must understand and remember the following 4 types. You got bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. Okay. Let's see. In talking about cleaning and disinfecting procedures, they are designed to prevent the spread of infection and disease, like we just talked about infection control. Okay. At minimum, disinfectants used in barbershops must be bactericidal, meaning they're capable of destroying bacteria, virucidal, capable of destroying viruses, fungicidal, capable of destroying molds and fungi, right? Okay, cool. Bacteria. Let's talk about bacteria first. Single-celled microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. What is a microorganism? It is any organism of microscopic or submicroscopic size, all right? And also talking about bacteria, some bacteria are harmful and some are harmless. So let's go into that real quick. Types of bacteria, you have 2. You have pathogenic, non-pathogenic. Non-pathogenic, most bacteria are non-pathogenic. That is a test question I've seen before. Most bacteria, non-pathogenic. They are harmless. They are harmless organisms that may perform useful functions, okay? Safe to come in contact with since they do not cause disease or harm, all right? In the human body, non-pathogenic bacteria help the body break down food, protect against infection, and stimulate the immune system. Okay, outside the body, non-pathogenic organisms are used to make yogurt. They're used to make cheese and some certain medicines. Okay, that is non-pathogenic. Now, pathogenic is the harmful bacteria that we got to be careful of, that we got to avoid, that we got to make sure to invoke all of our infection control procedures and methods to make sure we're not dealing with pathogenic bacteria. Okay. Now, classifications of pathogenic bacteria. You got 3. You got Cocci, Bacilli, Spirilla. Within the Cocci family, you got 3 of those. You got Staphylococci, Streptococci, Diplococci. One more time. You got 3 classifications of pathogenic bacteria. Cocci, round shape. Bacilli, short and rod shape. Spirilla, spiral or corkscrew shape. Within the Cocci family, you got 3 of those. You got Staphylococci, Streptococci, Diplococci. Okay. And bacterial growth reproduction, you got 2 stages. You got the active stage, you got the inactive stage. During the active stage, bacteria grow, reproduce. They love warm, dark, damp, dirty places. When they get it, they're going to grow, they're going to reproduce, they're going to multiply. Okay. During the inactive stage, they form spores, which can't be killed by disinfectants, like we said earlier. So here's the thing. When they're inactive, those spores are wax-like protective covering. They're waiting until they can get a more favorable environment. And once they get that favorable environment, they go from the inactive stage back to the active stage to where they grow and reproduce again. All right. Next, we're going to talk about viruses. Viruses, submicroscopic particle that infects and resides in the cells of a biological organism. Virus capable of replication only through taking over the whole cell's reproduction functions. And they're so small they can only be seen under the most sophisticated microscopes. All right. One difference between viruses and bacteria. I have seen this as a test question. Get ready. One difference. A virus can live and reproduce only by taking over other cells and becoming part of them. Bacteria can live and reproduce on their own. One more difference for you. While bacterial infections can usually be treated with certain antibiotics, viral infections cannot be treated with antibiotics. Okay. Let's see. Where we at? 9 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all 10 minutes on this one. Then we're gonna jump. All right. Next, we're gonna talk about fungi. Okay. Single-celled microorganisms that grow in irregular masses that includes molds, mildews, and certain yeasts. Okay. Most frequently encountered fungal infection in the barber shop is Tinea barbi, aka barber's itch. Is going on in that beard, on that face. Okay. Tinea barbi. All right. You just associate Barbie with beard. All right. Primarily limited to the bearded areas of the face and neck or around the scalp. This infection occurs almost exclusively in older adolescent and adult males. Okay. Now, Tinea barbi is similar to Tinea capitis, which is a fungal infection of the scalp characterized by red papules or spots at the opening of the hair follicles. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about parasites. They are organisms that grow, feed, and shelter on or inside another organism, which is referred to as a host, while contributing nothing to the survival of that organism. They must have a host to survive. They can live on or inside of humans and animals. They can also be found in food, on plants, and trees. Okay. The two types of parasites commonly encountered in the barber shop are head lice and scabies. Head lice, type of parasite responsible for contagious diseases and conditions. One condition caused by an infestation of head lice is pediculosis capitis. Again, we see that word, capitis. All right. Ebook coli, what's happening? Scabies is also a contagious skin disease and is caused by the itch mite, which burrows underneath the skin, which we're going to talk about the skin in a second. All right. Immunity refers to the ability of the body to destroy and resist pathogens and recognize infection. Immunity against disease can be either natural or acquired and is a sign of good health. Natural immunity, partly inherited, partly developed through healthy living. Then you have acquired immunity. It is immunity that the body develops after overcoming a disease through inoculation, such as like a flu vaccine, or through exposure to natural allergens. All right. Now we're going to jump past 5 because that's going to be in another section. We're going to jump on 6, anatomy, physiology. All right, real quick. Encourage viewers to share live. Yeah, whoever the one person watching, hello, and share my live and invite more friends, please. Thank you. Anatomy and physiology. Study of the human body structures that can be seen with the naked eye and how the body parts are organized. It is the science of structure of organisms or of their parts. Physiology is the study of the functions and activities performed by the body's structure. Okay. So anatomy would be, this is my hand. Physiology would be what do my hand do? What do my fingers do? All of that good stuff. Okay. You know, me making a fist, that's physiological. All right. Anatomy is just, okay, 5 fingers, right? 5 fingers and my palm and all that good stuff. All right. Next, we're going to talk about cells, basic units of all living things, from bacteria to plants to animals, including human beings. The cells of all living things compose of a substance called protoplasm, colorless jelly-like substance found inside cells, which food elements such as proteins, fats, carbs, mineral salts, and water are present. What's up, Tommy? How you doing? Nucleus is the dense, active protoplasm found in the center of the cell. And the cytoplasm is the watery fluid that surrounds the nucleus of the cell and is needed for growth, reproduction, and self-repair. It is part of the protoplasm. All right. Next, you got the cell membrane. It's the cell wall that encloses the protoplasm, permits certain substances to enter and leave the cell. Next, we're going to talk about cell reproduction real quick. Mitosis. Usual process of cell reproduction of human tissues that occurs when the cell divides into 2 identical cells called daughter cells. All right. Next, tissue. Tissue is a collection of similar cells that perform a particular function. Each kind of tissue has a certain function, can be recognized by its characteristic appearance. 4 types of tissue in the body. You have connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. One more time: connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. And within the connective tissue, you have adipose tissue, which is a technical term for fat. Anytime you hear adipose, that's fat. That's all that means. All right. One more. Organs. Structures composed of specialized tissues designed to perform specific functions. So from cells, you got tissues. From tissues, you got organs. All right. Now, when you start talking about organs, you start to talk about body systems, or also known as systems. All right. There are groups of body organs acting together to perform one or more functions. All right. And real quick, we're going to jump to the next chapter. We have bones. We got the skeletal system. It forms the physical foundation of the body. It's composed of 206 bones that vary in size and shape. They are connected by movable and immovable joints. Real quick, let's talk about the bones of the skull. You have 2. It is divided into 2 parts. Are you suing? No, I'm not, Connor. You have the cranium. It is an oval, bony case that protects the brain. And then you have the facial skeleton. The facial skeleton is the framework of the face. It is composed of 14 bones. Next, bones of the cranium. You have 8, but you have 6 categories, but you have 8 bones total. Okay. So you have the occipital bone, parietal bone, frontal bone, temporal bone, ethmoid bone, and sphenoid bone. We'll talk about those in more detail at a later date. We're going to jump to chapter 7. Chapter 7, the basics of chemistry. Chemistry, science that deals with the composition, structure, properties of matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, and how matter changes under different chemical conditions. The field is divided into 2 areas, organic and inorganic. That's hilarious. I love it, Connor. I love it. That's what's up. Got to give it to Twitch, man. Got to give it to Twitch. Organic chemistry, study of substances that contain the element carbon. All living things are made of compounds that contain carbon. The term organic applies to all living things and those things that were once alive. Gasoline, synthetic fabrics, plastics, pesticides are all considered organic because they are manufactured from natural gas and oil, which are the remains of plants and animals that died millions of years ago. Most organic substances will burn. Then you have inorganic chemistry. It's the study of substances that do not contain carbon, but may contain hydrogen. Inorganic substances are not and never were alive. Therefore, they will not burn. Byron, what's happening? Byron Morgan, what's going on? Metals, minerals, water, air, and ammonia are inorganic substances. All right, so one more time to recap. Organic chemistry contains the element carbon. Inorganic chemistry does not contain carbon, but it may contain hydrogen. Okay. Element is the simplest form of chemical matter. Wait, let me back up. I'm sorry. Matter is defined as anything that occupies space and has mass. All matter has physical chemical properties and exists in the form of a solid, liquid, or gas. All right. Element, simplest form of chemical matter, contains only one type of atom. An atom is the basic building blocks of all matter and are the smallest particle of an element that has the chemical identity of that chemical. All right, we're going to stop there. We're going to jump on chemistry real quick. Chemistry moves a little faster simply because a lot of this stuff you have a very low percentage of seeing on the test. So I'm just going to try to focus on the stuff that you have a higher percentage meaning 50% and up. Okay. All right, electricity is not matter because it does not occupy space or have mass. In fact, electricity can move through or across matter in space. It is a form of energy. Okay, it is a form of energy. Electricity is a form of energy. All right, you have electric current. That's the flow of electricity along with conductor. All substances can be classified as conductors or insulators. All right, 2 types of electric current. Direct current, constant, even flowing current, travels in one direction, only produces a chemical reaction. Battery operated instruments such as flashlights, cell phones, cordless tools use direct current or DC, as does a car battery, right? So think about your cordless clippers when you take the cord out. Then you have alternating current. For the prank, is matter, not energy. Don't be sorry for the prank, Connor. That shit was hilarious. So, where was I? Hang on a second. So, somebody just asked. I will tell you again what matter is. Matter is defined as anything that occupies space and has mass. Okay. Now, electricity is not matter, but matter, like I said, anything that occupies space and has mass. So if it has volume and has weight, that's counted as matter. All right. Alternating current, rapid, interrupted current flowing first in one direction, then in the opposite direction that produces a mechanical action. So electric clippers that you plug up, hair dryers that you plug up, and other tools or appliances that plug directly into a wall outlet use AC. And I'm still a big fan of AC. A lot of times when I use my trimmers, I just feel like they have that extra added power it just feels a little bit more aggressive, especially when I'm doing my shape ups, and especially using the type of trimmers that I like, which is the Andes T outliners. Let's see what else. Converter. Converter is an apparatus that changes direct current to alternating current. And a rectifier is an apparatus found within a power supply or adapter that converts alternating current to direct current. So when you have those cordless clippers that have the plug, it is the rectifier that converts the alternating current to direct current so you can use them. Okay. Rechargeable cordless clippers, like I said, and battery chargers use a rectifier to convert the AC from an electrical wall to the DC needed to recharge the batteries. And a rheostat is an adjustable resistor that is used for controlling the current in a circuit. Many devices such as light dimmers use a rheostat. I haven't seen too much things talking about rheostats, but let's see, find something else. Okay, another thing I have seen, high percentage question, polarity indicates the negative or positive pole of an electric current. All right, the positive pole is the anode. It is usually red and may be marked with a P or a plus. The negative electrode is called the cathode, usually black, marked with an N or a minus. Okay. So electronic facial and scalp treatments, that's where a lot of this type of stuff applies. All right. Like electrotherapy. Different types of electric currents are used for facial and scalp treatments. These different types of currents are called modalities, and each modality produces a different effect on the skin. That's why we care so much about electricity when it comes to the tests. All right. In the barber world, you know, we don't see a lot of that as far as like electrotherapy, but they want you to know it on the test. So don't be surprised if you see at least something referring to anodes, cathodes, polarity, positive, negative, charges, what's what, all this good stuff. All right. The next time we will get into galvanic current, microcurrent, high frequency current, all of that good stuff. And that type of stuff starts to deal with, you know, skin care, all of that different type of stuff. But we need to know it. All right. So that'll be in the next one. All right. Next, we are going to go to, where are we at? 22 minutes. All right, cool. Next, we are going to go to chapter 9, which is the skin structure, disorders, diseases. All right. We will start with our basics. Dermatology, branch of medical science, pertains to the study of the skin. Okay. Skin is constructed of two clearly defined divisions. You have the epidermis and the dermis. Epidermis, also known as cuticle scarf skin, is the outermost protective layer of the skin. It is the thinnest layer of the skin. All right. Test question. It is the thinnest layer of the skin. Epidermis contains no blood vessels, have many small nerve endings. The layers or strata are as follows. There are 5 of them, Shatara, wherever Shatara is. There are 5 strata or layers of the epidermis. We have the stratum corneum, the stratum lucidum, the stratum granulosum, the stratum spinosum, and the stratum germinativum, aka the stratum corneum, aka the horny layer, is the outer layer of the epidermis. This is the layer we see when we look at somebody. Next, you have the stratum lucidum, or the clear layer. It lies beneath the stratum corneum, consists of small transparent cells through which light can pass. In the middle, you got the stratum granulosum, or granular layer. It consists of cells that look like distinct granules. They are filled with keratin. Keratin is hard protein. Kurt, what's up, bro? How you doing? These cells are almost dead and are pushed to the surface to replace cells that are shed from the stratum corneum. Next, you have the stratum spinosum, or the spiny layer, that often classified as part of the germinativum, which is the last layer, the stratum germinativum, aka Jay's favorite pronunciation, the stratum germ on the titty, also known as the Malpighian or basal cell layer. It is the deepest layer of the epidermis. Okay. The stratum germinativum, aka germ on the titty, is responsible for the growth of the epidermis. It also contains melanocytes, which produce a dark pigment that we love to call melanin, which protects the sensitive cells below from the destructive effects of excessive exposure to ultraviolet light. Next, we're going to talk about the dermis. All right, let's get into it. The dermis is the underlying inner layer of the skin. It's also called the derma, the corium, the cutis, or the true skin. The dermis is about 25 times thicker than the epidermis and consists of a highly sensitive vascular layer of connective tissue. Within its structure are numerous blood vessels, nerves, lymph and oil glands, hair follicles, erector pili muscles, and papillae. The dermis consists of two layers, the papillary or superficial layer and the reticular or deeper layer. We're going to jump on that, and then we're going to move to our last one. We're going to close this. We're going to close our full court press out part one in 30 minutes, okay? Papillary layer lies directly beneath the stratum germinativum of the epidermis, contains small cone-shaped projections of elastic tissue called papillae that point upward into the epidermis, okay? Some of these papillae contain loop capillaries, which are small blood vessels. Others contain small structures called tactile corpuscles. This layer also contains some melanin, all right? Then you have the reticular layer, all right? Write this down if you are close. The reticular layer, deeper layer of the dermis, supplies the skin with oxygen and nutrients. The reticular layer contains the following structures within its network: fat cells, sweat glands, blood vessels, hair follicles, lymph glands, erector pili muscles, and oil glands, okay? It's got 7 different nutritional things going on in that layer, all right? I'm going to say it one more time for you guys. Fat cells, sweat glands, blood vessels, hair follicles, lymph glands, erector pili muscles, and oil glands, all right? Underneath there, 20, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kurt, you in there. 25 times thicker. That's right. Underneath the reticular layer, you have subcutaneous tissue. It is the deeper layer of the dermis, which, subcutaneous tissue is also known as adipose tissue. Do y'all remember what I said adipose meant earlier? Means fat. It is a layer of fatty tissue found below the dermis. Subcutaneous tissue varies in thickness according to age, gender, and general health. It gives smoothness and contour to the body, contains fats for use as energy, and also acts as a protective cushion for the outer skin. Last but not least, we're going to jump on chapter 10. Chapter 10 will round out our scientific concept chapters. Even though chemical texture services is more scientific than hair care, that's another story for another day. All right, hair, appendage of the skin in the form of a slender thread-like outgrowth of the skin and scalp. Hair is composed chiefly of a fibrous protein called keratin. There's that word again too. Britt, what's happening? Okay, keratin is present in all horny growth, such as nails, claws, hooves, things like that. Okay, full-grown human hair is divided into 2 parts. You got the hair root, you got the hair shaft. All right. The hair root, that portion of the hair enclosed within the follicle beneath the skin surface. The hair shaft is the portion of the hair that we see extending above the skin surface. Okay, so a lot of people mistakenly think that what they're looking at right here is the hair root. That is incorrect. The hair root is beneath the skin. That is a test question. I have seen people mess up that question time after time after time because they're thinking where the hair meets this, where the hair projects from the scalp that you see, they think that is the hair root. Actually, that's not. Now, is it the hair base? Yes, it is. Is it the hair root? No, it's not. And what I mean by that is any stylist that'll tell you if they're doing a roller set, they tell you to roll it to the scalp. All right, cool. When you're rolling it to the scalp, people mistakenly say they're rolling it to the root. No, you're not rolling it to the root. You're rolling it to the base. Okay. You're rolling it to the scalp, to the base, whatever. But the hair root is that portion of hair enclosed within the follicle beneath the skin surface. The hair shaft is all this that you're looking at. All right. Okay. The hair follicle is a tube-like depression or pocket in the skin or scalp that contains the hair root. Hair follicles distributed all over the body with the exception of the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. And guess what? We're going to stop right there. We are almost at 30 minutes. We will be back for another full court press pretty shortly. So just be looking for that. And what else I want to say real quick? I got 20 seconds. Oh, yeah. Barber Starter Pack, still 30% off through December 31st. Everything you need to get started in your career of barbering. The link is in the bio, link is in the description, all that good stuff. I'm your instructor, Pierre Huey, a.k.a. I know, right, Slay? A.k.a. Mr. P. The P is for patience, perseverance, and pack. We out of here. Peace.